Hi, Derek here of McKenzie Friend Consultants. Welcome back. In one of my recent videos, I covered the final hearing and what to expect. But do all final hearings follow the same format? Well, the answer is not always. And with one-day final hearings, they often don't. Now, just before we get into the video details, if you feel that these videos are helpful, then you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button below, as you'll probably find my other videos of assistance as well. As covered in my previous video, there is a set format for final hearings which are contested, involving given evidence. So, as a reminder, the standard pattern for final hearings is as follows. If this is a child arrangements final hearing, then CAFCAS or Children's Services will be on the stand first and give their summary and recommendations to the judge. Both parties in turn are then invited to cross-examine the CAFCAS or Child Services officer. On conclusion of this, the applicant is then invited to give evidence. That is, to be on the stand and be questioned by both the judge and the other party. If the other party is represented, then you will be cross-examined by their barrister. The respondent is then invited to the stand to give evidence and be cross-examined or questioned by the judge and the other party. And on conclusion of the evidence, both parties will give their final submissions, which is the summary of your case and what you are asking the judge to order. The judge will then retire for a while and return to give the verdict. You should always therefore prepare for this format and have your cross-examination questions and final submissions prepared well before the hearing. Now, whilst many final hearings follow this pattern, that is not always the case. And particularly if the judge feels that the difference between the parties' positions is not that great. The judge may wish to forego the full formalities of a final hearing and try and find a quicker and easier solution and forego the cross-examinations. The judge may feel that giving evidence is unnecessary as it places considerable stress on the parties. Now, if CAFCAS is in attendance, they will be invited to give their view and recommendations to the court. After this, the hearing can go in several directions. The judge may solely focus on the points that are unresolved between the parties by asking the parties questions on each point in turn. On conclusion of this, the judge may then retire to consider the issues and then return to give his judgment. In many other cases, on the conclusion of the judge's questioning, he may ask the parties to then give their final submissions, i.e., the summary of their position. The judge will then make his judgment. And more recently, I've seen a further format that was pretty interesting actually. CAFCAS gave their view as usual, and then the judge asked if the parties were willing to spend the allocated time trying to resolve and negotiate the unresolved points, with the aim of coming to an agreement or at least narrowing down the number of points of disagreement. The parties returned to the court an hour or so later and informed the judge of their progress. The parties were then asked to give final submissions on just the unresolved points. The judge asked further questions to the parties and finally gave his verdict. Now, this approach would not work for all cases, however, it certainly worked in this case and avoided the need to put the parties through the stressful experience of giving evidence. Therefore, in summary, you have to be prepared for the unexpected and be adaptable, as it often makes the whole process a lot less stressful. Now, you should always be prepared for a final hearing based on the standard format, and at the same time be ready to be flexible. And as mentioned in my recent video, the final hearing is the most important time in the whole of these proceedings, and for most people, highly stressful, and they could benefit by some experienced assistance. And if you need help with your final hearing or just want to talk about your case, then go to www.McKenzieFriendConsultants.uk and book your free consultancy with me. That's it for today, and if you found today's video helpful, then hit the subscribe button below, as you'll probably find my other videos pretty useful as well. So, bye for now, and until my next video.